All right, guys, welcome back to the November tournament game. We are on day 7, which means we will be able to build factories tomorrow. That's going to be a big day in 16 hours from now, 3 p.m. my time. We're going to start building factories. Now, we've already talked about our plan here, and I think it's a good plan. The plan is going to be to give all of our material over to Harkold and Doggo, and have them build factories here, 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 and here on the Russian mainland. So here's the thing. We are at a disadvantage for oil, a big disadvantage for oil. They just have way more than we do. And that's a crucial mech resource. However, we still have the same advantage that we've had from the very beginning, which is that we are contiguous. That means that we can attack across land and not have to suffer that penalty for getting off of boats. A penalty that's been as bad as 1-6 we've seen in the past, just cripplingly bad. I mean, your hit points go down, your attack and defense go down. It's just horrible, crippling to get out of boats and then get attacked while you're getting out. So here's how we're going to try to exploit that. In much the same way we did on day 3 with infantry, we swarmed Russia from 3 different countries, and 4 really, because Italy was a part of that. And we were able to make headway. In fact, we took 4 of Russia's territories. So Russia is now down 33%. 4 of their 12 are gone, eaten up and gone. And I kind of love that the conquered territories were evenly split between Doggo and Harkold. And it just worked out really, really well. Now, Doggo got 4 wheat out of it. So it could have been divided more laterally between the two. But it doesn't really matter because it just means that all the silver from this territory, 3,444 a day up here, 3,254 a day, so 7,000 silver a day are going to Doggo instead of Russia. And then another 7,000 over here. Oh, no, it's a single tile. So, single tiles earn a lot less. Well, the morale's a lot lower, too, because they were taken later. But another 3,000. So we're talking 10,000 silver a day has been stolen from Russia and given to us. So that's a 20,000 silver differential. It's pretty huge, pretty impressive. Now, of course, we cannot forget these 2 down here. They have to be included in the equation. So they get back 3,000. So it's really not quite 10,000 silver differential. It's more just 7,000. But again, when we're up 7 and they're down 7, that's a 14,000 silver per day differential. Money they don't get, but we do get. So the idea is this. Day 8 hits. If we start factories in all 4 of these territories immediately, and I kind of hate Sevastopol down here because it's so far away, but I still think it's closer than anything else we can build in this region, with the exception of my territory over here, but we want them to be concentrated. We want them to come into Kharkov and attack directly north and take Moscow here. Now, Moscow is the current capital, but it is not the capital in World War I. So the question is, once we take Moscow, I think there's no question we really have to take the double oil. But then from the double oil, we cut straight over and take St. Petersburg. Now, here's the beautiful thing about that, is that look at all this territory. Once we capture Vologda, then look at all this defensive road, right? Anybody who comes at us in Vologda, anybody who comes at us is going to be on the road for probably 6 or 7, maybe 8 hours before they can get to us, because they're going 1/3 speed that whole road. And it's even worse for Sweden. If Sweden's approaching on this road's even longer. That's probably a 9-hour road. So it's a beautiful thing, these distances. They're going to work against us early on. Don't get me wrong. But not that terribly, really. Think about it. We just have to traverse a short amount here to grab Moscow. Once we have Moscow, all of this is friendly roads, and look, only a little bit of enemy roads. And as soon as we capture this, we gain these friendly roads here that become, of course, enemy roads to our enemies. So it's going to be great. We will have 4 artillery that will move in. We're going to try to do this as smart as we can. Of course, by day 10, if we do it right, I mean, like as the clock ticks from 2:59 to 3 o'clock, we should be able to start building 4 artillery here. Now, the question is, can we sneak in level 2 factories? If we can sneak in level 2 factories, we get an even bigger jump. I'm not convinced that it's the day 13 cannon that we thought about, but it might be. I've never done a pure test of that. In other words, I've never done a test where I'm like literally looking at the clock and building, on the exact day, building a level 2 and see what it does. I'm not convinced that it'll give you a day 13, but at the very least, it'll give us a day 13 and a half cannon if we build that level 2 factory. So the idea, if you're not caught up on what I'm talking about, it's sort of a little bit of a mechanic trick that we can use, that when you build a cannon on a level 1 factory, it takes 4 days. But a level 2 factory, it only takes 2 days to build a cannon. So when you build that first cannon, right, the clock is ticking for 4 days. You build a level 2 factory, which only takes 2 days, right? So when the 2 days is up on the level 2 factory, you still have 2 days in theory for that cannon, right? But because the factory now cuts the time in half, the legend is that it cuts the time producing that cannon in half, and you can get a magical cannon on day 13 instead of day 14. I'm not convinced of that. I think the logic is sound, but I think somehow the mechanic is not quite what we think it is. But I will say this, I've watched it cut the time down. I don't think it cuts it in half, but it cuts the time down. It will give you the advantage. And in this particular map, we need that advantage desperately. Now, if the enemy team is playing correctly, then they will be shoveling everything to Russia and just giving him tons and tons of, he should have 3 factories and be pumping out 3 cannon at the very least. But I have not seen a lot of that kind of teamwork from this enemy team. So, for instance, there's some heavy stuff going on down here now in Austria that should have been matched with attacks from Britain. This is a big stack from Britain, who's been teasing in up here from time to time. And of course, here we have Sweden with some troops at my door. They're not attacking in a coordinated fashion. So I don't think they're going to heap over tons of resources. See, for us to make this happen with Doggo and Harkold, we're going to have to give them resources that we desperately need. And that's something I talked about in our chat. It's like, you're not going to like it. It's not going to feel good. But, come day 8, we need to make sure they have enough to build 2 factories, level 1. Come day 10, we need to make sure they have enough to build 2 cannon. And beyond that, it'd be nice to get them with those level 2 factories, but I'm not sure that that's essential. I'd love to have that 13 and a half day cannon, but I think we can still win with 4 14-day cannon, just developing normally. The reason I say that is like, yeah, if we're sacrificing everything over here, let's not forget there's a land approach right here. And let's also not forget this beast over here. Let's look at his morale. Ouch. So this guy, Spain, has been staying out of war with everybody pretty much. I don't think he's at war with anybody. I could have just checked. Oh, he is at war with 3 of my buddies, but he's not at war with me. And I think he's only gone to war sort of later in the game. And one of those is AI. He went to war with Serbia. That must have been a misclick. Or maybe he just took some Serbian territories. I don't know. That's weird. But anyway, that probably was a misclick. Anyway, he's got a high morale. And he has sent some troops out on the board, but he hasn't really done much. Now, we are looking at Morocco swarming the board. We did have a Spanish fleet out on the board. I almost feel like they went back home. I'm afraid I've kind of dropped the ball in this. When I released this video in our chat, if any of my allies know what happened to that Spanish fleet, we'll talk more about that later. Anyway, this is a very exciting strategy because I feel like we really wanted to rush and take Moscow at the very least, and then if we could, all the way up to Volga. But we ran out of steam. They forded up. We know that Sweden has a lot of forces back here. We know that Russia still has enough, and we just didn't want to destroy ourselves. I will say this: we made a spy push here, and we had a bunch of spies in Moscow, and it just didn't knock down anything. We were trying to break their forts down with spies. and it just didn't work. So we turned back, we modified our thinking, and we just thought, okay, so the same thing that allowed us to break through at day 3 is going to allow us to break through at day 14. Namely, the fact that it's going to be 2 or 3 on 1 versus a guy who just cannot get help quick enough. So I think if they play the way they've been playing, then maybe Russia will have 2 artillery. That's not going to be enough. At that point in time, we will have plenty of troops positioned over here, and we'll be ready to make a push for Moscow. We'll stand defensively. This is good. Level 2 building here. Level 1's good enough because we're attacking from here. And we should be able to take Moscow, and then we should, once we capture this is friendly territory, this long road, but it's friendly territory, then into attacking and capturing Volga. Once we have these 2 territories, it's really just money in the bank. It really is. From that point on, hopefully they can keep all 4 of their cannon. Maybe one of them will get knocked down by one of the Russian cannon. Let's say they have 3. They use the remaining army. They fort up here, use the remaining army to capture St. Petersburg, and then clean up down here. I mean, it's a beautiful scenario. If it can happen, I think it can happen. If it can happen, we win the game. It's really as simple as that. Now, we've neglected, it's day 14. We've neglected down here a lot. I think ideally I would like to have 1 factory so that I can attack up with a cannon into here. I think France maybe needs a factory. And there's been a little bit of debate about where that factory should be. I think the factory should be here in Limoges, right here. I think it should be here, and here's why. Number 1, it cannot be attacked from the sea. Our main danger is that Britain is absolutely going to build boats. Here is a harbor, and here is another harbor. Oop, nope. Where's the other harbor? Here is a harbor, and here, I thought there was a harbor here. What the what? Oh no, here's a harbor and here's a harbor. Nobody knows why he didn't build a harbor on his double coal. It's a mystery, folks. Instead, he built it on his steel. Oh, he wants the steel. Maybe, hey guys, maybe he wants the steel. So anyway, he's got 2 harbors, and so he's ready to have at least 2 over here. I did look around. I didn't see a whole bunch more. So he's not going to spam out the cruisers, but he's going to have cruisers on the map. However, I've seen people defend against cruisers by just hanging back. Here's the deal. You hang back with your main force. The cruisers can't get to you. So then he comes in with a landing force. They get on the beach, and you run up and kill them. Well, what about the cruisers attacking you from afar? Cruisers are not that, they're not that impactful. Until you start getting large groups of them, they're basically cannon juniors. They're not that hardcore. And I say cannon juniors. Okay, so that's not entirely accurate. Let's go ahead and take a look at cruisers, so we can analyze them. They're fast. The big problem with cruisers is they're so fast. But if you look at cruisers, the damage they do is, I think it's 2, right? Let me get some info on this mofo. Yeah, 2 damage instead of 1.5. So it's a little bit better than a cannon. But we've all seen 1 cannon by itself. It's good, but you want those stacks of 3, 4, 5 cannon before you really start to do that damage. So again, you just stand back and just say, go ahead and land somebody. Go ahead and land somebody. It's still as dangerous as it ever was. It's still 1v6 in terms of damage dealt and received. And so even with the cruiser back there lobbing stuff in, he's only lobbing, 1 cannonball every 45 minutes or whatever it is. Meanwhile, you're just slaughtering them on the beach. So I'm telling you, we can defend up here. Where I think we need to have a cannon is this land region, because Madrid has high morale. Madrid has steel, 2 doubles, which is still why did you build a factory on a single steel? You should be trading. They've got more steel and more oil. If we don't win this game somewhere, here's the thing. This game ends at day 21. That's tournament rules. So, I mean, I think really, as long as we just hold, we're going to win. But then destroying up into here is going to be super fun. We can take another couple territories. We're definitely going to win this game. So anyway, let's talk about what's happening on the map. Right now on the map, we've got a couple interesting things. We've got them chasing our spies around. But up here, we have a guy who's trying to sneak in, and they saw him. Of course, they saw him. And then he kind of feigned in over here, but they weren't fooled. So this one guy is probably going to die. Well, he's definitely going to die. But that's okay. It was worth the try. It was worth the fun of it. And still, just kind of threatening the backcountry here is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I'd say I'd just love to see France get this back together, this stack of 11, and just float it around in here. Scare the shit out of Britain. Britain has been a little too ballsy lately. This is like a stack of 40 over here that's been floating around, threatening me specifically. Getting out of the water, getting back in the water, just wasting a lot of time. We've seen some weird play from the enemy here. So what's going on though? Most recently was the most recent big scare was we had woo. Pardon me. I have one of the weirdest sneezes in the world, according to my friends. So anyway, what happened was all these guys from Morocco were getting out of the water. Harcold, it's like 4 a.m. for him. He's sleeping. And so we're freaking out. We're like, Harcold, oh no. All these guys are getting out of the water, and they've got their 7 petal flower getting out. There was only 2 Italian troops sitting here on the shore. And that's Raya-Force. And Raya-Force was also screaming, come on, come back. Where are you? And so basically, the 2 Italians killed 7 Moroccans, heroes, but that's the ratio I'm talking about, 2 to 7. When they're getting out of boats, they're just sitting there. So we're like, oh no, what's going to happen? At the time, this 10 or 11 here, 12, whatever this is, 10 or 11, it was standing outside of the town. So we're like, oh no, and these 2 were down here by the shore. We're like, oh no, like he's going to wake up, and Doggo here is going to wake up, and he's going to have no more Sarajevo. Right, it's going to be taken over. He's going to find Moroccans there camped out. So here's what I think went down is Raya-Force like spammed him, hoping that his computer volume was on. He was just like, Doggo, 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 Doggo. He showed me the messages. He just like literally, boo-doop, 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 boo-doop. And it must have worked. That or our heartfelt spirit screams pierced his dreams, because he woke up. And then this is like a Christmas miracle, ladies and gentlemen. This is 11 guys coming over here. They're going to get there before they get out of the water. Look at this. They're going to beat them. They're going to catch them on the shore with that devastating damage, with that devastating advantage. And there's nothing these guys can do. He could have tried to go back, to leave, right, to get out of the water. But it's too late for that. When you're halfway out of the water, there is a point of no return where someone can catch you. You can try to leave. Doesn't matter. Let's take a look at what happens to this car when he's in the water. Hey, I got 2 hit points. Yeah, when you're on the road, you have 2 hit points. You have 2 hit points when you're on a train. But when you're in the water, you do not, my friend. You do not. So, just everybody sucks getting out of the water. You can see the cars kind of like getting dropped off by boats, and just sort of like trying to drive through the sand, just kind of tires spinning, and the guys are yelling in Moroccan. I don't even know what language they speak in Morocco. Is it Arabic? Probably. I don't know, but they're yelling, and they're very upset because the tires are spinning, and meanwhile they're just getting killed. So this could be a massacre. This could be just like, it went from just being an imminent tragedy to being potentially like just like the perfect massacre. 11 guys killed this stack of roughly 40 guys over here, because I see 7 stacks of about 6. Some of them are 5. So, like, holy moly, 42-ish with cars and whatnot. Like, oh, if this 11 kills this 42, which I think they will, everything I've seen, you at least get 1 to 4. And usually better than that odds. So this 11 should be able to kill 44 or even 55 or even 66. And I think there's only like 45. Well, hold on. You can lasso a group of enemies. That's a nice little feature. 43 with cars. I think these guys they're heroes. They woke up at 4:30 in the morning with their commander screaming in their ear, banging on pots and pans. They jumped out of bed. They grabbed their kit and they got dressed and they put on their helmets and they ran out of there. and they're just going to go kick some butt. So I'm super stoked about that. I love it. I love it, folks. I just love it. Oh, here's where I was talking about earlier. I knew that Spain was on the map in force. So here's Spain. Again, Spain, buddy, why are you not coordinating? They're not coordinating anything here. One of our first games that we played in the tournament style, it was actually just an alliance game, tournament practice. We did not coordinate our attacks either. And we realized early on, like, no, that's not going to fly. Usually, and mostly when you're playing just regular old games where you're in a coalition, you'd be just like, we're going to attack east. Let's go. In this mode, no, that does not fly. If these guys were just positioned a little further north, I don't even know why are they not going there now? It looks to me like they might still be heading north. It does look like the arrow's pointing down. Okay, they're officially going to Brindisi. But, Raya Force is going to be ready for them. I'm sorry, guys. You're going to die. And Raya is famous for holding guys back out of sight so that you don't know they're there defending and then running in and defending and destroying you. This is what happened accidentally here. I'll just admit it. I don't think we planned. Well, I know we didn't plan this at all. Poor Doggo was just sleeping, but he woke up just in time. Oh my gosh. One of those sweet little, you rarely get those lucky moments, So I was diverting 14 troops that were about to go home because what we're trying to do now is we're trying to stay alive for the next 4 days, 5-ish days, 4.5, 5 days until the first cannon hit the map. We have to play defensively and not lose any territory. Then when the cannon hit the map, try to take these 2 territories. And if we can take these 2 territories and then march west and take the capital, we've won the game. I'm sorry, but we've won the game. That's it. So we've got to play defensively everywhere else. So I'm marching back 14 guys from the Eastern Front over here and still realizing, like, look, these guys take 15 hours to go from here to here. I think I measured from all the way over here all the way to Berlin was a little over a day. So about a day and a half before we stage that final attack north, I'm going to march some troops over there to take part in that northern attack because that's a crucial attack up there. But for now, I need them to defend, right? It's 5 days until that moment comes. So I'll have them over here for 3 days or so, and then I'll march them back. So I had 14 guys coming back, and for a moment, I was diverting them down here. Here's what I thought was going to happen. I thought Doggo was going to lose Sarajevo, but I thought we still had enough coming down to take it back. So Doggo would have taken a big morale hit. This 77% would have gone immediately to a 25%. But that's okay. He could have taken that. It wouldn't have been a game-losing scenario. But this is even better. Taking out 40 guys. Oh, it's beautiful. And up here we have guys marching down. But I don't think they're needed necessarily. I guess Doggo's up for good now. Sorry, bud. We woke him up way early. And then I had another 14 coming down over here. And, yeah, I turned 8 of them, turned 8 of them around. No, I didn't. I stopped them, but I meant to turn them around. Let me move them back up to here. Something weird happened with that command. Because I'm still concerned about these guys in the water over here. Britain has had right-of-way here in Belgium for a while. I'm still concerned that they'll take my back door in here, Strasbourg. I've got everything forted up. But, the point is, if he's already on land and I don't have a fort, he just has to come in with large numbers, which they have, and take it. So I am building a fort there. I have been now for 4 or 5 hours. And so I'll have that forted. I can have some defenses there at least. But now that it looks like Doggo's going to hold down there, I'm moving down with 6. And I'm only moving down with 6 because of the other threat down here from Spain. This Spanish army, though, yeah, that's 66. So that really it takes a dent out of what Spain can do down here once cannons around. But I promise you Spain's going to have 2 cannons down here. So I really feel like France should have 1 cannon at least, maybe 2 if they can. Or even better, since we're tightening our belts and giving everything over east here, if I could have 1 cannon, if Italy could have 1 cannon built sort of centrally here, and if France could have 1 cannon, then my thinking is my cannon goes east and feigns into Riga to increase the heartache for Russia. At the same time, I'd say both of these cannon come over to South France. Again, I worry a little bit about cruiser harassing, but not that I don't really worry that much. I played a game very recently. It wasn't any kind of special game or tournament game or alliance or anything, where I just saw someone really masterfully defend against cruisers, and they just stayed out of the way. Cruisers have crap range. They just kept their troops out of the way, and then whenever we tried to land somebody, they just ran up and killed them on the beach, And you take like a little more damage than you normally would because the cruisers are there, but the cruisers aren't doing that, you know they're not the be all end all until they get into big stacks. So I'm loving where we're sitting here. I did want to go ahead and say, at one point I was going to stop doing these videos because my initial reason for doing them was focus and unity for the team. And I've seen that we've got that. Once you have it, you've got it. I think we've got that unity. We've got that focus in this team. I'm very proud of this entire team. I've probably made more mistakes than anybody else. I'll be honest with you. And it's in large part because of my weekends. Oh Lord, when the weekend comes, I am not dependable. I got to do better with that. But anyway, I've done okay. I haven't done any colossal, huge failures yet. And I think the planning has been pretty good, and everybody's been pitching in with great ideas, keeping us moving in a positive direction, entirely. So, but I'm going to go ahead and keep casting this because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just stockpile all these videos and then release them after the tournament. And it's going to be one team's trip through a tournament. It's just going to be our tournament story. So I'm kind of excited about it. It's almost like this is a biography, a television special, made for TV special about, a team of nerds moving through a tournament. We've never done a tournament before. We're new to alliance play, period. But I do like the idea of I'm going to go ahead and just release these. And I think I'll just do like an intro video and an outro video for each one of them. And then, gosh, it'd be great if I could compress these videos. I've talked about that too. That's one of my fantasies of doing. And if I didn't have a freaking 50-hour-a-week job, I'd do it. I'd love to take each video and just compress it into, say, 1 minute of just details of what happened on that day, and then compress, what ends up being 21, probably not even 21, because I'm not doing videos every day for this anymore. But, like 18 videos would get compressed into under 20 minutes, and then that could be, November match. So, boy, I'd love to make that happen. That's sort of future goals. We'll see moving forward if that can happen or not. One thing I will say is I just got moved to a new office. I got moved to the North Kansas City office, which is literally in a field. Like today, I looked out my window and I saw a deer walking across a hill. And I'm just like, holy shit. So I started at this company at 17th and Paseo. If you know anything about Kansas City, 18th and Vine is the famous jazz district. It's very urban down there, and we had lots of people come in and out of that office. I was running workshops all the time, career explorations, work keys examinations. If you don't know, what I do is I basically try to get people funding so that they can get trained into careers. It's a great job. I love it. But anyway, I got transferred to Independence, Missouri. And so my workload got cut into like half, maybe. Cut about a half. Because even though the workload's a lot less, I'm the only instructor in Independence. So yeah, my workload got cut in half. But now I got sent to Independence, and it's in a field, not Independence, North Kansas City. It's in a field. Like I was driving out to this place and I was just like, am I in the country? I'm in the country. Like I'm literally in the country. And so today we had one customer come in, and it's like, oh, and so we'll see what happens moving forward. But what I'm saying is that I might actually have a little bit more extra time during the day. I've got a few projects I want to work on that are work related. But I might actually have more time to put into the video thing. So I just wanted to let you guys know at this point, I want to turn this into a entire series. So we'll have a November stack, we'll have a December stack, January stack, and so forth. Hopefully we'll make it through the first round into the second round. That would be exciting. And that would just lend credence to the value of having a sort of biopic viewpoint of a team going through a tournament. So I kind of love the idea. That's the new deal. This is the documentary of a team going through their very first tournament. So thanks for checking in, guys. As always, it's been fun. It's been real, but it hasn't been real fun. Adios, amigos.